Hello everybody, I'm Yusuf. Today I'm teaching you how to write a classification essay. Before I start my teaching, I want to ask you a question. What does it mean when we say classification? Classification, the word classification comes from the verb classify, which takes us to the root of class. So when we say classification, we mean how to put it in a class. I'm sure that every one of you have seen a recycle bin outside the classroom. There are 4 different bins categorized into 4 groups. You have seen in our university. One is for food, another for glass, another for plastic, and another for paper. And when we throwing out our trash, we separate them depending on the substance, our focus depending on the substance. So we separate our trash. We put food in its own category, we put glass in its right category, and then we have plastic and paper. We put them in their own parts. So we divided. It's better to say we classify our trash depending to the substance. So as a result, classify or classification means to categorize something. There is a dictionary definition here for classification. It means to arrange in a class or to consider someone or something as belonging to a particular group. So when we say classification, means put them in their own category. In a classification essay, we divide our topic into the 3 classes based on aspect. I emphasize based on one aspect because we can talk about it later. We have to give information about the 3 classes in the same order of importance, and we have to follow a certain pattern. Be careful, guys. We need to avoid irrelevant and conflicting ideas. So we should avoid irrelevant information. They all should be relevant to our topic. So let's go to another one. In a classification essay, the writer organizes, sorts things into the categories. There are 3 steps to remember when you write an effective classification essay. First of all, we should organize things into the useful categories. Second, we can use a single organizing principle. And then we can have example of things, and we should put them in their own category. If you want to have an example, if you want to classify a school, the first thing that comes to our mind can be primary school, high school, university, even language schools. And we classify schools in different categories that you can see here. Of course, we need to talk about them more in today's lecture. So, as you know, we have some steps in order to write an essay. An effective classification essay is like an essay. First of all, everyone, you know that before everything, we should brainstorm idea. Second, we should outline our essay. Believe me, if you have a good outline, you can write very well. And then we can start our essay. So I will explain one by one later. Let's go to the brainstorming. First of all, what is brainstorming? Brainstorming is a technique for coming up with a solution. When you're brainstorming, you allow yourself to write down whatever comes to your mind. You know, you write whatever you want. Of course, try to write the relevant thing. They should be relevant, and you should cross out the irrelevant things. Okay, all of them should be relevant. The next step after brainstorming we can see is outlining. It is very important, I told you. An outline is a tool used to organize our idea or topic, or it's very important, it should be in a logical order. Outline arrange topics, subtopics, and supporting idea, and writers use outlining when they are writing in order to know which topic they are going to cover. And of course, again, I insist that it should be on order. You know, your outline should be in order to know it better and understand it better. Okay, the next step we can, okay, you can see another slide. This is the format of outline. I'm sure that you all have seen this format a lot these days in our school, of course. First of all, we have thesis statement, and then we can have topic sentence number 1, then we can have the detail, and then we have topic sentence number 2, then details, topic sentence number 3, details, and finally we have thesis statement. Sorry, thesis restatement. The name is very important. We say thesis restatement. I will explain all of them one by one. Don't worry. So, first of all, what is thesis statement? We should introduce our topic with a good thesis statement. We should write our thesis statement by different kind of a structure you can see here. We can say there are 3 types of, 3 classes of, and 3 kinds of something. Okay? So we have some vocabulary and structure that they can be very helpful in order to write thesis statement in a classification essay. One of them is classify into 3 classes of something, categorize, divide, and divide into 3. So you can use this in order to write your thesis statement. Let's have an example of thesis statement. As I told you before, we have talked about the schools. So when we talk about the school, I told you we have different kinds of schools. We can have 3 categories here: primary school, high school, and university. So there are 3 types of classes, kind, categories of a school, which are or such as. Okay? So I insist again, there are 3 types of a school, which are primary school, high school, university, in terms of educational levels. It's very important. Look at this. In terms of educational level, I emphasize again, we should just consider one aspect. Okay? We need to categorize them in one aspect. Now we are talking about the educational level. So first we have primary school, then we have high school, and now you are in university, the last one. Okay? So let's have another one. Another one that is very important is topic sentences. Why topic sentences? Because we have 3 topic sentences. First of all, we should introduce our category with a clear topic sentences. For writing topic sentences, we can use transitional signal at the beginning of each paragraph. What are those transitional signals? You can see here. First, firstly, to begin with, first of all, the first. And then for the second topic sentences, you can have secondly, the second, another one, and finally, you can use the word finally too. The last one. Last but not the least, I like it a lot. The third one, the final one. These are the transitional signals that help us to start to write our topic sentences. Let's have some examples, and you know that we talked about the schools. That was our example, and we'll continue to talk about schools. The first category of a school is called primary school. I've written here body number 1, we need it later. The second category is high school, so we used the word, the second category. And the final category is university. You can use the word final, you can use the word, the third one, it depends on your point of view. But I use the word, the final category is the university. After topic sentences, we have thesis restatement. Okay, I emphasize again, restatement. You should rewrite your thesis statement with the different words. First of all, you should rewrite again, but it should be in different words. You should indicate that your thesis is finished and you won't add anything else. You cannot add something else. You should write it again, but different words. And you can use the following word. We have some following word here, like can be classified, can be divided, and we can categorize. If you look at them, you can see that they are similar to what that we use in our thesis statement. And I emphasize again, in your thesis restatement, you should write the previous one with another words. Okay? So, we have some examples here. Schools can be classified as, school can be divided into, we can classify schools as. So, this is the example that we talked about it, about the school, but this is thesis restatement. It means that we tell thesis again, but this time with another words. So we talked about the school and we have our outline here. This is our outline. First one is thesis statement. There are 3 types of a school, such as primary school, high school, and university, according to educational levels. We divided them according to educational level. I emphasize again one aspect. And then we have topic sentences. Number 1, the first category of a school is called primary school. We can have details here. The topic sentence number 2. The second category is high school. Then we can have details here. And the last one, topic sentence number 3. The last and final category is university. So we can have details here too. I want you to look at the thesis restatement. Okay? Schools can be classified into the 3 categories, such as primary school, high school, and university. Please look at it carefully. Again, we tell the idea that we had in the thesis statement. And they are the same, but the way we present it is different. Okay? They are the same. And the way we present should be different, but we cannot add anything else. We can just classify them according to primary school, high school, and university. You cannot tell that. We even have language school here. Because in thesis statement, you mentioned 3 topics. And here you should tell again that 3 topics. You shouldn't add anything else. But you should tell in other words. Okay. So the last step and the most important one, now we can start how to write. Okay, introduction paragraph. As you know, in all kind of writing, we have introduction paragraph. In introduction paragraph, we should start with general idea. We should draw our readers' attention. We should attract them. Okay? But we can start with the general idea and we should attract them. How? How we can attract them? There are some ways in order to attract our student, or our, of course it's better to say, there are some ways to attract our readers. How? We can ask a general question, we can give general information, and we can find an interesting quotation from a famous person. But it should be related to topic. Okay? It should be related to the topic. But you should remember, you should focus. You won't start talking about the categories right away. First, you should talk about it generally. You cannot start talking about your categories now. Okay? There are some steps. First of all, you should tell them general idea. You should motivate them. Okay? After that, we can narrow and specify our topic, and it should be to the point. And now we can do this. How can we specify it? If we ask a question, we can answer the question. If we give specific numbers or information, it can be helpful again. And we can have a comment about the quotation. Remember that on a previous slide, let me back the previous slide. I told you you can find an interesting quotation in order to have a general idea. But then, in order to specify, you can make a comment about that quotation. Okay? So, and as you remember, our thesis was about to explain the classification, and we need to further talk about this. Okay. The next one is body paragraph. What is body paragraphs? Why I said body paragraphs? Because normally we have 3 paragraphs. A body paragraph is a group of related sentences about a particular topic or idea directly related to the thesis statement. The majority of the essay consists of 3 body paragraphs. We normally, in our university, we normally use 3 body paragraphs. This is the place main information is presented. Okay? Remember, we should present the main information here in body paragraphs. We should start each paragraph with the topic sentences. And you remember we mentioned the topic in our outline, okay? So, each category listed in the thesis statement that we talked should have its own body paragraph. In other words, each body paragraph should focus only on one category or class, okay? We should focus on one category. You should provide details and evidence as well as example and support your claim. Remember, after presenting your body, of course, in your body, after presenting your topic, you should support your idea. It's better to say you should defend yourself. How? You can give example, you can have some statistic, you can have some facts, of course, and as well as, I don't know, different details, you can support it. In body section, the goal is to explain each category or class. Here you should explain more, okay? And after 3 body paragraph, we should go to conclusion paragraph. The conclusion paragraph of your essay includes 3 parts. First of all, you should rewrite your thesis. Okay, how? You can have some structure here, all in all, as a consequence, in conclusion, or as a conclusion. You can use this kind of a structure in order to write or rewrite your thesis statement. And if you look at the next one, here you should rewrite your topic sentences again, and again we have some useful structure. As it was mentioned before, to sum up, shortly, briefly, you can use this structure. And the final one, and unfortunately some of you are students, I myself noticed that a lot. Some of you, you don't care a lot about these issues. It means I'm talking about the last one. You think that it's not important. But I believe it's very important. You should give your own opinion. It's better to say final thought. You should give your own opinion, okay? And you can have some structures here, like I think, in my opinion, from my point of view, what I believe, and another one, when it comes to my opinion or my mind. So I insist again. Finally, you can tell your own idea as a final thought, okay? And look at this one. In any case, you should make sure that your conclusion clearly emphasize the purpose of your classification, okay? So, and now, let's have a real example. I talked a lot about the writing, but let's have an example. Imagine that we are classifying the countries based on their economic situation. Of course, these days the economic situation is not good in all countries, but let me have an example of this. If you want, okay, if you want to divide countries based on their economic situation, the first thing that comes to your mind will be developed countries. And you know some developed countries. After developed countries, we can have some developing countries, and then we can have some underdeveloped countries. So we have 3 classifications here: developed countries, developing countries, and underdeveloped countries. If we want to have more idea in brainstorming, for a developed country we can have high standard of living, technological infrastructure, and for developing countries we can have rich and poor people there, and low human development, low industry. And for underdeveloped countries, we can have high rate of poverty, unfortunately, limited sources. We are now brainstorming, okay? We can have more idea, of course, but what I provided for you is this. This is brainstorming. Then we need to go to outline. Of course, the outline is ready now. I want to review the outline here. So if you remember, in our outline sheet, we have thesis statement, topic sentence number 1, topic sentence number 2, topic sentence number 3, and finally we have thesis restatement. What is our thesis statement? There are 3 types of country according to their economic condition. I emphasize again, according to their economic condition. You cannot divide countries here by their economic condition, social condition, because you should just refer to one aspect. Topic sentence number 1. The first category is developed countries. If we want to have some details, high standard of living, technological infrastructure. Topic sentence number 2. They have also categorized some countries as a developing countries. Detail, I told you about the details. Some of them are rich, poor, and we can talk about the industry. We can talk about the human development. Of course, we need all of them further. And topic sentence number 3. We can use the word finally. Finally, there are underdeveloped countries in the world according to the classification. High rate of the poverty, limited resources. Thesis statement. In conclusion, I mentioned when I explaining about thesis statement, you can use in conclusion, the simplest one maybe. The countries are dividing into the 3 in terms of the development. Okay? So this is the outline. Believe me, I told you before, if you have a good outline, you can write your writing very well. Okay? So outlining is very important. After that, let's go to our writing. We have writing here. Let us discuss about it. The classification of countries. As I told you before, we have 5 paragraphs here. As you know better than me, the first one will be introduction. The second one, third one, and fourth one will be body paragraph. And the last one will be our conclusion. Okay? So let's talk about introduction. I told you in our introduction, first of all, we should have general idea. Okay? And then we can specify it. I don't want to read all of them for you, but you can see that it is written that all the countries in the world have always searched way to improve their life standards since the beginning of history. They have made discoveries about nature, invented tools to make life easier for their own citizens. So it is general idea. General idea talks about countries. Therefore, if you look at here, we are specifying it. They have always been in communication with each other, and every country needs another country to develop itself. So it's very important here. So people have needed to categorize these countries according to the development level and found that there are 3 types of countries according to their economic condition. This is our thesis statement. I told you before, in our thesis statement, we should talk about something that we are going to talk in our bodies. We talked about what here? We talked about 3 different countries according to their economic condition. So we have 3 groups here, and of course we have 3 body here. Body number 1. The first category is developed countries. The first category, you can see here, it's bold. The first category is developed countries. These countries have completed the development process. The citizens of these countries have high standard of living and a high rate of literacy. Also health, education, technological infrastructure, better than the countries, and birth rate and death rate and low in these countries. The best example for these countries are Australia, many of EU countries, and Japan. Look at it again. I just read for you. The first category is developed countries. It is our topic sentence. I told you, we should defend ourselves. We should have some example. We should have some facts. Okay? If you look at here, we talked about education, health. These are some facts, some details. And we have some example too, like countries, Australia, Japan, EU countries. So these are the examples that I told you. We should have example in order to defend our topic sentence. The second topic sentence, they have also categorized some countries as developing countries. So now we are talking about developing countries. These countries are both developed and underdeveloped together. at the same time. They are moderately rich and moderately poor. Their economics are growing, but this process has not completed yet. Why some people who live in these countries can suffer from poverty, shortcoming in the area of medical supply, poor nutrition, and source of food and water. Turkey, your country, India, and Brazil can be some of the example of this category. Of course, we have some international students too. So it's better to say that here we are again defending our topic sentences, and again we have some example of countries like Turkey, like Brazil. So I told you we should have some fact, details, example in order to defend our topic sentence. The last topic sentence, or the paragraph 4, will be underdeveloped countries. Look at this. Finally, there are underdeveloped countries in the world according to our classification. This is our topic sentence number 3. An underdeveloped country is defined as a nation that is not as economically developed as other countries. You know, they have a very bad situation in their life. These countries are very poor, have, very low per capita income, and these type of things. So we are developing, we are defending. Again, we have some details like this: very little money on education, on health. And I told you, again, we should have some example. And it's written, Afghanistan, Somalia, Yemen, they're among these countries. So these are the example of underdeveloped countries. Finally, we should have our conclusion, paragraph number 5. In conclusion, the countries are divided. Look at this, the countries are divided into the 3 themes of development. Okay? We can say that the countries are divided into the 3 in terms of development. If you look at our thesis statement, there are 3 types of countries according to their economic condition. It is our thesis statement, but we call it thesis restatement. It means that we tell it again, we write it again, by different way. Okay? We cannot add anything else. The developed and developing countries have good life standard, and they can be independent countries, whereas underdeveloped ones are relatively impoverished. In my opinion, I told you, you can talk about your own opinion. You can tell your own idea. In my opinion, all countries must come together for the empowerment of the underdeveloped countries. Okay. So, the part that you like it very much, I know. We have a homework. You should write an essay about type of mobile technology, as we talked about different kind of countries, schools. First of all, you should write out. First of all, you should have brainstorming. Then you should write outlining. Then you should write your essay. Okay. Thank you, everybody, for watching us. Hope to see you soon, this time in person.